Involve your hands with the blowjob itself. We all should do that. Blowjobs are not just meant to be about our mouth. Our hands are a great accessory in any oral sex experience. You don't have to fit the whole thing inside of your mouth for it to be pleasurable. Your tongue can lick, your hands can stroke, you can suck on the tip, you can lick the balls, you can move around, and pay attention to what feels good. You're listening to Sex with Emily. I'm Dr. Emily, and I'm here to help you prioritize your pleasure and liberate the conversation around sex. So let's 69. It's one of those sex acts where you tend to be a full-on lover or hater. But no matter what camp you fall in, chances are that if you're having sex, you're going to come across the famous, the controversial 69 sex position. So why not learn some pointers to make the whole thing more hot and more comfortable? First, I share research with you that might motivate you to put 69 on regular rotation in your sex life. Next, I give you techniques for being an excellent oral giver and strategies like mindful masturbation to help you become a more relaxed and erotic receiver. Finally, I talk position tips like the sideways 69 and the power 69 for you to play with and take all your pressing questions on 69ing and oral sex. Please rate and review Sex with Emily wherever you listen to the show. Subscribe wherever you're listening. That really helps us. It just helps get the show out to more people and help everyone, people just like you. And you can find me at all social media, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Threads, X. It's all at Sex with Emily. My new articles, 5 tips for steamy shower sex, and 8 ways to feel more sexual sensation are up on sexwithemily.com. Okay, real quick, before we get into the episode, are you looking for the perfect holiday gift that keeps on giving and you don't have to wait for delivery or anything like that? My Smart SX membership community is perfect. It's your all-access pass to exclusive workshops, live events, intimate conversations about sex, relationships, pleasure. This is your community. These are your people. We launched it in September and it's been an incredible resource for so many. Whether you want to level up your intimacy or just give someone you know a whole new world of connection and confidence, Smart SX has something for everyone. So if you want to make sure this holiday season is your sexiest yet and 2025 is your best sex yet, visit sexwithemily.com/smartsx to join today. That's sexwithemily.com/smartsx. And don't forget to check out Shop Sex with Emily for all my handpicked pleasure products. They are perfectly curated to make your holidays even hotter. Whether it's toys, accessories, fun gifts, something for everyone to explore and enjoy. Give the gift of pleasure. Head over to shopsexwithemily.com for your perfect gift. All right, everyone, enjoy this episode. All right, let's talk about a nightly ritual that's all about loving your body, specifically your vulva, your vagina. Enter V-Health Serum. This is your new bedside bestie for vaginal health. Whether you're navigating postpartum recovery, perimenopause, or just want to enhance intimacy, V-Health has you covered. It's powered by Nobel Prize-winning technology using 4 targeted growth factors to restore your vaginal tissue and pH balance while you sleep. So you won't have dryness or irritation or even painful sex. You just apply this serum at night, just like you would on your face, but you put it on your labia. And when you go to sleep, this will help regenerate your tissues. Okay, so here's how I use it. Here's my routine. I treat my evening routine as sacred. I brush my teeth, I light a candle, connect with my body, and just use a tiny bit of V-Health Serum to help moisturize and smooth and even reduce the chances of those pesky UTIs. What I love about this routine is that I'm connecting to my body. I'm literally rubbing something on my vulva and feeling connected and saying, hello, we're connected. I know I've been busy all day, but here we are. And who knows? That might just lead to something else. I know for me, sometimes it just gets me in the mood. It gets me connected. So if you want to learn more about B-Health, this truly is revolutionary technology and you want to restore your vaginal wellness, go to getvhealth.com and use code Emily25 for 25% off. That's getvhealth.com and use code Emily25 at checkout. Trust me, your vulva and your entire body will thank you. Let's talk about something most of us don't think about: exercising. You got it? Think about it. It's your penis. You heard me. That's where Bathmate comes in. Bathmate is the world's best-selling penis pump. And for good reason. It's not just a pump. Think of it like a workout for your most prized possession. You use the power of water, and Bathmate creates this hydraulic vacuum that draws blood safely into the penis, improving blood flow and tissue health. Listen, having stronger erections, better stamina, some users even have size gains. This is all about blood flow, and that's where a penis pump comes in. Oh, it can also help with girth. You can just think of this as part of your self-care routine. Bathmate is the only FDA-regulated hydro pump. It's designed to be used in the privacy of your own bath or shower, just 3 minutes, even a few times a week, and you're on your way to noticeable results. Bathmate is so confident you're going to love it, they even offer a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. That's 2 months to experience the benefits risk-free. And right now, you can get 10% off. Just visit bathmatedirect.com/sexwithemily and use the code SWE10 at checkout. Your confidence and your partner will thank you. That's bathmatedirect.com/sexwithemily. BATHMATE direct.com/sexwithemily. Use code SWE10 at checkout. Now, a lot of you write in asking me about oral sex and different ways to go about making oral sex a more pleasurable and enjoyable experience. And that includes 69ing. So if 69ing is a fantasy you've been wanting to try or have had trouble with in the past, not to worry. I'm going to break it all down for you in this episode. I'm also going to answer some of your general oral sex questions. All right, so let's get into it. So one of the studies I cite in my book, Smart Sex, it analyzed data from 884 heterosexual couples about their general happiness, their self-reported mental health, and their sexual practices. Guess what they found? Both giving and receiving oral sex was positively correlated with feelings of happiness. In fact, people got the biggest bump in happiness from giving rather than receiving. How about that? They were satisfied. But what about giving and receiving simultaneously? Now that's what 69ing is all about. Which, to be honest, I was never a huge fan of 69 until I learned to modify it, which I'll get into. I always felt, well, either I'm giving and I'm fully in, or I'm receiving and I'm fully in. But jumping back and forth between giving and receiving just seemed like a hassle I did not need in the bedroom. Now, the 69 position is somewhat controversial. You either love it or you hate it, I found out. People who are huge fans of 69ing, like how you get pleasure from both giving and receiving oral sex. It definitely spices up the oral sex routine because there's novelty and variety, which are two key factors in spicing things up, feeling interested in your partner more so than not. And it's often just one of those positions that's on people's sex bucket lists. So here's what the haters will say. I don't know if they're haters, but they just prefer not to do 69. They say it's awkward physically. You can't really experience the full pleasure of either giving or receiving since you can't give your full attention to one. That's where I was at. I was like, I cannot do both of these things and be sexual. But in this episode, my goal is to give you all the pointers you need to figure out whether 69ing is something to add to your sexual repertoire or maybe just try it once. And I'm all down with like, if you have had a bad experience with it in the past or you have these preconceived notions about it not being right for you, why not try it again armed with knowledge? The first aspect of 69 is your role as the giver. Now, we've done some great in-depth episodes on performing oral sex on a vulva and a penis, which you should definitely check out. But if you have any hangups around giving, it's unsanitary, probably not a great idea to put my mouth on someone's genitals. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'll like it, all the things. This might help you. Genitals are just another part of someone you are intimate with. It's another way to give them pleasure and to make them feel good. Kissing their penis is kind of like kissing their arm, except for it feels 10 times better and it has less of a stigma around it. Oral sex feels the best when you start slow and build up. Now remember that. You don't want to go right for the genitals anyway because it takes a while to warm up. So remember to kiss all around their thighs, lick the labia, kiss their testicles. Really, really take your time to explore and slow down. You could lick, you could suck, you could twirl your tongue around in circles to hit a lot of different nerve endings, especially when 69ing. Think about it this way. It's more about generally stimulating your partner's genitals. So you don't need to dive right into your usual patterns and rhythms right away. Here I am giving oral sex and all I can do is like give oral sex in this very specific way because it's right in front of my face. You still don't have to use your mouth the whole time. And in fact, another one of the ways I've learned to enjoy 69 is realizing that I can use my hands, I can use my feet, I could use a toy, I could take a break. I could go back and forth between my mouth and my hands and other parts of my body. So just know it's not just like I am doing oral sex now and this is all I have to do. Okay? Remember that. Whoever said oral sex needs to be hands-free and all about the mouth? Nope. Especially when 69ing, your hands will be incredible aids to you. In fact, there have been times where I'm like, I really like the feeling of my partner going down on me, and me going down and then with my mouth right now is going to be too much work for me because I can't really receive pleasure in that moment, so I'll just use my hand with a lot of lube. Sometimes the angle isn't right or your partner moves around, so just make sure you have your hand on them. None of this is perfect. This is not set in stone. Like, this is how 69 happens and this is how penetration happens. I just want to give you guys permission to kind of get outside your comfort zone and just see what feels right in the moment. Or maybe you just need a break. Or you want to focus on a few moments of receiving, that's okay too. Just because you're in this mutual 69 collab doesn't mean you can't say for a moment, wow, this feels really good. I'm just going to take a moment and receive. Speaking of receiving, a lot of you tell me that you have a difficult time experiencing pleasure while receiving oral sex. I also cover this a lot in my book because I realize that's one of the big positions. A lot of you say, it's really hard for me to relax. How do I know that my partner really wants to be there? How do I taste? How do I smell? Is it taking me too long? So it's important to learn to feel comfortable just receiving, especially before you try to give and receive in a position like 69. So maybe next time your partner's going down and you can start to kind of practice just sort of settling in, breathing, paying attention to what you're feeling. And like most things in the bedroom, I do think it's important to feel very confident in your solo sex practice before engaging fully in partnered sex. It's just always a way to say, I know what my body does. I know how my body responds to pleasure. This is where I need to feel good. So it's just a great learning tool. Now listen, if receiving oral sex is less pleasurable for you, try some mindful masturbation to get over this hurdle. Try this. While masturbating, imagine your partner going down on you. Like, imagine you completely relinquishing, wholly receiving, and think, what does it feel like? What feels good to you? Where would you tell your partner to target and to move? And can you kind of picture that in your mind? Do you want it faster? Do you want it slower? And then imagine yourself communicating these things to a partner and just overall feeling comfortable with the idea of someone between your legs. This is a great visualization process and might just turn you on more than you thought. And by the way, this is just one of my many tips from my book, Smart Sex. So once you start to feel comfortable with the idea of receiving oral sex, you can start moving that into your real relationship. And remember this, the goal is not necessarily to have an orgasm. I find when we take the goal away from orgasm and the goal is just receiving and feeling safe with your partner and just feeling pleasure, that should be the goal. It should be like a pleasure-filled experience that I want to feel with a partner. So just get curious and familiarize yourself with what needs to happen for you to experience pleasure. What blocks do you need to move out of the way? What emotional blocks do you need to remove out of the way? What do you need to know from your partner to feel safe? What experiences have to be lined up in your environment for you to feel safe? Think about all those things. And once you're really comfortable giving and receiving, I believe you can fully experience the pleasure of 69ing. All right, now let's get into the actual position. The 69 position is usually depicted as one person on top of the other, essentially holding a plank. Like you are literally planking above your partner because you're supposed to be on top and they're on the bottom. That's a tough one. So if you reframe 69ing as a position with mutual pleasure, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. And one of my favorites, which is going to be a game changer for you if you were holding the old plank, is the sideways 69. So instead of one person giving, receiving, and simultaneously getting a core workout, which, hey, to each their own, you can comfortably lay on your sides. And this can also help if there's a height difference between the two of you. So you're laying back, you're comfortable on your side. You don't have to worry about holding yourself up. You can also take turns giving and receiving. Taking turns while in the 69 position or the sideways 69 is also a great way to practice edging. That's when you're teasing your partner by taking them right up to the edge of orgasm, then deny them from orgasm and demand some pleasure your way instead. So it's a great way to get your partner up to heightened arousal, then bring it back down again, and you bring it back up to arousal. And then finally, when they have an orgasm, it's that much more intense and exciting. And if you're into playing with power dynamics, edging can be an incredibly hot way to go. Okay, speaking of power play, there's also the power 69, in which the partner on top is in control of how much their partner's face is in their genitals. Kind of similar to face sitting or face kneeling. And if you forget what face sitting is, this is essentially when you are, your partner's laying down on their back and you kind of get up and sit on their face. But I like to think of it as a face kneeling. You don't have to be holding yourself up like in a squat. You can put your knees down on either side of their face, and then you could use the headboard to sort of balance yourself so you can really place your genitals on their face in the way that feels the best for you and without suffocating them. So it feels good for them too. You could also try having one person lie down with their head off the bed while the other person's leaning over to give oral sex while their genitals are in their partner's face. This can be really, really hot too. Think about that. Your partner's lying with their head off the bed, and then you're leaning over and putting it in their face. Can you picture that? It's hot. As always, I love bringing a vibrator into the mix. Hands, incredible tools for oral sex of all kinds, including 69, obviously your mouth, but vibrators can take the experience to the next level. Because listen, let's face it, the angles aren't exactly perfect for your mouth to line up exactly with your partner's pleasure points. Vibrators can make giving much easier and receiving even more pleasurable, and less work for you too if you're just using a great vibe. And as always, don't forget to use lube. I love Playground lube. I love the way it tastes. I love the little flip bottle. I know you guys are all loving it too. Hopefully now you feel equipped to practice some 69, today. How fun. First off, how fun to just bring it on your partner and be like, guess what? 69. I don't know about any partner that's going to be like, well, that just sounds really troublesome. I'd much rather go to a movie. No, do 69ing. You know what else is fun? Listen to this episode together. I can't tell you how many couples have let me know the benefits of listening to Sex with Emily together. So you both are getting the information at the same time. You can stop and talk about what you've heard, add things to your bucket list, add things to your pleasure list. So I appreciate you all for listening and sharing the episode with someone you think could really benefit from it. And let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear your stories. Hold your positions because after we take a quick break, I'm answering listener questions about all things oral sex. But before then, I want to tell you about another one of our incredible sponsors who help support the Sex with Emily podcast, and that is Just Thrive. It's the most wonderful time of the year, or is it? Real talk. Between family gatherings and holiday parties and just a little more on our plates than usual, our health can take its toll. Luckily, we have Just Thrive probiotics. They have been with me this entire year, and they are the only clinically proven probiotic and antioxidant on the market. So unlike most probiotics, Just Thrive is unique. It beats bloat and indigestion, supports a strong immune system, gives you clear, glowing skin, and improves your sleep and your mood. These are the only probiotics that I have found that actually reach your gut 100% alive. Those other fancy probiotics, the ones in the freezer, all that, they don't do any of this. Just Thrive comes in a capsule or a gummy, and it's the perfect gift to keep your gut in balance during the holiday season and beyond. And they have a money-back guarantee. So give yourself the gift of health this year and kickstart your new year routine early with Just Thrive. And for a limited time, you can save 20% site-wide at justthrivehealth.com with promo code SEXWithEmily. That's justthrivehealth.com and code SEXWithEmily for 20% off. Or click the link in the show notes. You know how I'm always saying that sexual health is just as important as mental and physical health? Well, now's your chance to help science catch up. The Magic Wand study is here, and it's breaking new ground. Literally a first-of-its-kind study analyzing how using a vibrator, specifically the Magic Wand rechargeable, can improve your quality of life. We're talking boosted sexual desire, better sleep, less stress, improved self-confidence, and more intimate relationships. And yes, you heard me right, you can masturbate for science. Here's how it works. Participants in this 3-week study will receive a free Magic Wand rechargeable. Plus, you'll be entered to win $250. All you need to do is complete a daily survey for 21 days and use the wand for 1 week of consecutive sessions. Fun homework, right? If you're 18 or older, have a vulva, and live in the US or Canada, visit magicwandstudy.com to sign up before January 5th. That's magicwandstudy.com. Let's make history, one orgasm at a time. All right, this is from Ron, 57 in Maryland. Hey, Dr. Emily, I love your show and I've been listening to it on various mediums for years, but this is my first time writing in. I'm 57 years old in a relationship with a much younger 36-year-old woman. We have a great sex life except for oral. She's never experienced it before, and now I go down on her all the time, and we both love it. But you guessed it, it's not reciprocated. She says that I have pre-cum that is uncomfortable in her mouth. While I'm not counting, our ratio of giving and receiving is 100-1 in her favor, and I'm trying not to let that affect me. I love her and love being with her, so I'm trying to figure out how to have not necessarily equitable amounts of oral, just a little bit more. Thanks in advance. Thank you so much for your email, Ron. First, I get it. You want some oral, and you should have some oral. And this whole pre-cum thing and whatever reason she's not doing it, let me help. First things first, have a conversation with her outside the bedroom about your sex life in general. How it's going, what she likes about it, what you like about it, what you both want, what your dreams are, what you want to work on. And then you could say, hey, I know that going down on me or giving me a blowjob, it hasn't been your thing, but tell me more about it. Tell me more about the pre-cum. Is it the taste? Does the penis just seem icky to you? And listen, this is not where you judge and try to solve it. You're like, I'm just really curious. I just want to understand where you're coming from. Okay. And then you have more information and then you can kind of troubleshoot from there and see what she says. Maybe she had a bad experience with it. Maybe, pre-cum means something else to her. Like, let's just find out more. You have to let her know that any of her feelings are totally okay and valid. Remember, all of our feelings are okay and valid. It's our feelings. If it's her first experience with oral, it might be natural that she has some hesitation around it. Sounds like she doesn't have a lot of experience receiving, but maybe also not giving. Maybe she's built this up into something that she doesn't know how to do and she doesn't want to disappoint you. Remember that. A lot of times our hesitation has to do with we don't want to seem like a failure. She doesn't want to seem like a bad lover to you. So you can even find out. She might say like, I don't really know what I'm doing, or I don't think that you like it. And then you could say to her, well, I'd be happy to show you what I do like. Now, another thing for the pre-cum, if that is the situation, try flavored lube. Have you ever used it together? Well, that might help with the uncomfortable pre-cum situation. I love having flavored lube around. It just tastes delicious. And it's a fun way to play. Finally, maybe there's an in-between step where she kisses your inner thighs while giving you a hand job at the same time. Would this be something she'd be open to just to get comfortable with stimulating you and finding what feels good? Maybe she just kisses the tip but doesn't go all the way into her mouth. Remember, for a lot of us, we have to ease into this experience. I don't know that she's going to be able to go to 0 to blowjob if she hasn't done it in a while, but getting to know your penis, getting to understand what feels good, using her hands in a way where you can show what kind of pressure and movement you like. And then eventually maybe she really adds her mouth in. Could be a way to escalate this whole giving and receiving oral. Ultimately, sounds like she's just got to get more comfortable with it. I sense some resentment you might have here on the imbalance, which I get it. So you can communicate first and present her these ideas in the spirit of, I accept that you're still getting used to it. I'm just getting curious, and here's what feels good to me, and here's what I like about pleasing you. And it's a casual conversation where we're gathering information, okay? Let me know how it goes. This is from Jen, 30 in Ontario, Canada. Hey, Dr. Emily, I recently found your podcast on Spotify and I've been listening nonstop since. I just turned 30 years old and left my husband about 5 months ago. We were together for 15 years, married for 8. I was only 15 when we got together and never dated anyone else. Our sex life sucked. He never made the effort to please me. He only gave me oral sex once in the time we were together and told me he thought it was gross, which completely traumatized me and my self-confidence. I never orgasmed with him, and I truly don't think I'll ever be able to orgasm with anyone. Now I want to start exploring other people, men and women. But I'm absolutely terrified. What if someone wants to go down on me? How can I become more comfortable with oral sex? First of all, Congratulations. It sounds like you got out of an unhealthy situation that wasn't working for you, and now you are liberated and you are free. So well done. I know that's not easy, especially after 15 years with one person, and now you're starting off on a new journey. Well, I'm so glad you emailed, and you definitely came to the right place. So the first thing I would say is you really definitely want to masturbate. Get to know yourself right now without a person in your life. What turns you on, get comfortable with your sexual energy again, and you producing your sexual energy, you getting your energy out there, not a partner. You can get toys that simulate the sensations of oral sex. And this might help you just so you know what the feeling is like and start training your brain to like these sensations. Remember, we have to train our brain to think differently about things that we might have protested in the past. Next, when you're experimenting with people, it's okay to be real with them. Let them know that you're comfortable with XYZ, but you're still getting used to receiving oral. I think that the most responsive, in touch with themselves lovers would say, okay, great, I am up for the challenge. I want to make you feel really good receiving oral. Any sexual partner worth your time is not going to pressure you before you're ready. Just remember that. If you're feeling pressure to have sex, you are allowed to slow it down and take your time. The thing about a fear of oral is it doesn't just appear out of nowhere. You had a really negative experience with it from someone who just didn't care enough about your pleasure, didn't realize that it was going to impact you, probably didn't know how to please you, to be honest. You guys were together for 15 years. Just remember that a lot of times when we don't know what we're doing sexually, we might lash out and just say it's not our thing, or we don't want to do it because it was too vulnerable to really sit with you and learn how to please you. But nonetheless, you had a negative experience with it. And so that's what we're trying to rewire in your brain and sort of rewire your entire energy and experience towards receiving oral. But when you're with someone who's into it, oral will feel much more organic and much more pleasurable. Especially when you've already done some foreplay and your body is legitimately aroused, you just might feel differently and more enthusiastic about receiving. Especially after you started doing these visualization exercises and picturing yourself receiving and playing with yourself and masturbating, like this is going to get easier. Especially if you find someone that you trust, you've already had a conversation with them about how you like to be pleased, so then they know to go slow. You're going to feel a lot more safer and able to relax, which is what we want. Remember, when we feel more relaxed during sex and we're able to let go, we have more pleasurable sex. This is what our studies show us. So thank you, Jen, for your email. I appreciate you, and keep us posted. This is from Sydney, 23 in Pittsburgh. Hey, Dr. Emily, thanks for all you do. I'm a faithful listener of the show, and I love learning and hearing all about sex. I'm in a happy, committed relationship with a man who is 7 years older than me. Everything has been going well, and I love him so much. We were always trying to keep our sex life new and fun, especially because we're in a 1 to 2 hour long distance relationship. I recently discovered a kink, a fetish, I don't know what it is, and wanted to hear your thoughts. We've been 69ing a lot lately, and I'm loving it. One time, because he was going down to me and I was enjoying it, his penis was around my face, but not in my mouth. As we were shifting and continuing, his penis ventured around my ear. Now, I know the ear is sensitive and an erogenous zone, but I immediately felt the urge to take his penis and put it in my ear. Not actually in the hole, but around it. He quickly noticed and realized I was turned on, so he began to move back and forth a little. It was so stimulating, and I orgasmed right on the spot. Over the past few weeks, we've continued 69ing, and I keep putting his penis in my ear. It is seriously amazing for me. Please help. Is this weird? I mentioned it a few times in conversation, but I'm unsure if he really thinks it's weird or not. It's kind of embarrassing, but just the feeling of his penis in my ear is unmatched. He does it on his own or lets me do it, so he can't think it's that bad, right? Thank you so much. Any advice would be so appreciated. First, I love this so much. How great that you're finding pleasure in your ear, and clearly your partner's down with it. Listen, I have found that when we are really into something and it feels good, most loving, caring partners who understand what it means to be a great lover are psyched to know what turns you on and not judging you. And second, you're right. Dolly Josette, the pleasure muse, was on the show once and talked about the erectile tissue inside the ear. And I know this for sure. There is erectile tissues all over our body and definitely in the ear. This is why it feels good when people whisper sweet nothings or they blow in our ear or they lick around the ear canal. It feels good to many of us, and I actually think it's a really underrated erogenous zone. So good on you. It is an erogenous zone. You are right. And in fact, a 2016 study showed that people can achieve orgasm through the stimulation of extragenital erogenous zones. And in fact, that is often the case for individuals with spinal cord injuries, which affected their genitals. So essentially, they find other places on their body, other erogenous zones that get stimulated, and there's nerve endings, and it can feel amazing. And in that study, the most powerful erogenous zones were shown to be the breasts, lips, neck, ears, and butt. So you're not weird. You're completely normal. In fact, you're more than normal. You're wonderful. You're wonderful for having felt safe enough with your partner to try this and discover a whole new zone of pleasure. Well done. And I can only imagine everyone listening is going to have some fun tonight seeing how their ears respond to pleasure. Thank you, Sydney. I so appreciate your email. This is from Shonda, 38 in Alabama. Hi, Dr. Emily. I've been a listener for a while now and appreciate all the knowledge you've shared. I've learned so much, even in the short time I've been listening. I poked around in the Ask Emily section of your site because I thought for sure someone had asked something like this before, and maybe they have. I've recently started seeing an old flame from high school. Things are, of course, exciting and the sexual tension is palatable, but I've recently found out how much he has grown since we were together back then. I'm not too worried about the penetration part of being with him now, although I am intimidated, so any tips would be welcome. I'm most worried about attempting to give him oral. I don't think I can physically take him in my mouth without hurting him with my teeth. It's really messing with me because I want to be able to please him in that way. I've always taken some pride in giving some great oral. I guess I'm just kind of scared since I won't be able to do all the things I would normally do. Any tips or tricks you could share would be greatly appreciated. Congratulations on reconnecting with someone you've got chemistry with. I love that. So first, remember this. This is for you and for everybody. Involve your hands with the blowjob itself. We all should do that. Blowjobs are not just meant to be about our mouth. Our hands are a great accessory in any oral sex experience. You don't have to fit the whole thing inside of your mouth for it to be pleasurable. Your tongue can lick, your hands can stroke, you can suck on the tip, you can lick the balls, you can move around, and pay attention to what feels good. Think of your hands as an extension of your mouth. Right? So you can use your mouth at the tip and your hands are applying more pressure, and then you're going to find out where does he actually feel good being stimulated. You can also pleasure his testicles while you're giving him a hand job, which can also feel great. Holding the testicles, holding them, softly, gently, playing with them, see what feels good to him. Ask first before you grab the genitals, or just do it really lightly and say, do you like that? Because not everybody likes their balls played with. And if you want to create some suction without using your mouth, you can also try a manual stroker toy. Stroker toys can be a really fun way to play with a penis. They have these pressure pads on the sides so you can squeeze to create an internal vacuum. They're like silicone sleeves that go over a penis, and some of them do have some suction elements. You could just kind of use this to feel, and that can feel really, really good. It's just another sensation on the penis. Again, you could switch it up, use a suction sleeve, use your mouth, use your hands, just mix it up and keep going. These are all really fun ways to play. Finally, I say give it a shot. Be honest with him that you're concerned about hurting him with your teeth. Valid. Wouldn't you want to know that? I want to know that. But you want to try anyway and have him be honest with you. The worst that happens is that you'll reach into your bag of tricks, i.e. all these ideas above, for more lovely sexual pleasure, right? You have other ways to please and you've learned some things. My last tip, use lube. This will help everything slip and slide more, lessening the chance that your teeth will snag on sensitive genital skin. All right, you got this. You're so careful. I love this. And just pay attention, go slow, and have some fun. All right, everybody. If you've been wanting to spice up oral, play with some 69 or take any of these tips so you can experience some giving, receiving, and some real intimacy with a partner. It's a good time. Let me know how it goes. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for listening to Sex with Emily, and be sure to like, subscribe, and give us a review wherever you listen to the podcast, and share this with a friend or partner. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, or X, and Facebook. It's all at Sex with Emily. Oh, and I've been told I give really good email, so sign up on sexwithemily.com, and while you're there, check out my free guides and articles for more ways to prioritize your pleasure. And if you'd like to ask me about your sex life, dating, or relationships, call my hotline, 559-TALK-SEX. That's 559-825-5739, or just go to sexwithemily.com/askemily. Was it good for you? Email me, feedback@sexwithemily.com.